Welcome in. Waiting on a few others. Was on TikTok and I had a violation, so I can't stream till tomorrow. But I just want to do a quick update and then um, relax. So we're gonna wait for a few more to get in. See if we can add some cool shit into here. Hmm. Interesting. Oh, TF man, good to see you. Shit, I didn't know that was you. Good to see you in, man. I'm fucking exhausted. Having a nice Corona, relaxing, much needed. But good to see you, man. Trying to do a update for Western North Carolina. I actually should change that, I guess, but it's in the description. They'll read it. So yeah, I was actually on TikTok, and apparently you're not supposed to stream and drive on TikTok, so I got hit with a violation, and of course it's 24 hours. So um, I have to come over here to YouTube and do it that way. It sucks. Yeah, it's bad. It's very bad, man. It's I mean, it's worse than the news was showing. Um, Way worse, much worse. It was worse than I actually expected, and I've been on disasters for 28 years, all different types, and this was just unreal. I mean, just the swath of damage. Um, it was just unbelievable. You know, it's one of those things truly that you have to tell people. You have to see it with your own eyes to understand it. Even the videos that I posted, it doesn't, and the photos, it doesn't do any justice. It doesn't even put a dent into the real situation down there. Um, and then, as you know, with all disasters, you kind of get, I won't say numb, but you kind of acclimate to that type of disaster environment. You know, heavy equipment, vehicles coming in, and people rushing around, and helicopters everywhere. And we were actually on a search. I think it was Sunday. Uh, Hey, Nissa, welcome in, Sun Honey. So, yeah, Sunday we had to drop off a few supplies, and we were out searching, actively searching, and doing recovery. And I stopped and I looked at one of my other teammates, and they're like, "You okay?" And I said, "You hear that?" And they're like, "What?" And I said, "No fucking helicopter." Like all day until late that evening, we never heard one single helicopter in the region. We were like, kind of odd. Because you hear them flying in and out 40 times a day, different towns dropping off supplies there, and we didn't hear shit. And I was like, wow, that's kind of spooky. That was kind of spooky. Son, honey, you're awesome. You're absolutely awesome. One of the biggest needs too. I don't think I addressed it and put it on the paper. But CO2 detectors are a very big need. And we have spread this to other people that are pushing for heaters and things like that for people until we can get these folks into even a temporary shelter, one of the little tiny houses or something, or get them out of the tents for the winter because they won't survive those little nylon tents. So if we can get them into some type of sturdy shelter that they can, wash their own clothes, have electric, things like that till they get back on their feet. And mountain folk can survive. They can survive, but we need to really push for that. And the one thing that we were pushing for was CO2 detectors. If you're gonna have gas in your house, if you're gonna burn kerosene, you need a CO2 detector. We want you all we want them to wake up the next morning and each and every morning after. So that is a big necessity as well. I know the fire department had a few. We got a few and passed it out. We were trying to get some from others. We took a lot of them down to Burnsville. But that's the one thing as far as safety, they're not really pushing that much for is make sure you have those, make sure they have those CO2 detectors rather. So, but yeah, it's a mess. And oh man, that would be awesome. That would be awesome for a fundraiser. Yeah, we need to. There was a girl I communicate with on TikTok. She was actually on a few of my lives. She lives up in Minnesota, so she was going to talk to the Amish this week about donating a bunch of those tiny homes. And then someone else contacted me about the tiny homes from Maine. One of her family members owns that, to see if we can get that. And then there's someone down in Tennessee. And I'm not trying to take from those folks in Tennessee because they got hit hard too, especially in trade south of Mountain City, part of Mountain City, all the way down to the border, and as far north as Damascus, Virginia, on the Tennessee Virginia border. So yeah, they got hit hard too, and I'm not trying to take away from them, but trying to see if we can get some local area donations for those tiny homes too. They can take up and over the mountain, and buy building materials. If we have to build shelters for people. So yeah, that and these things cost anywhere between $6,000 and $11,000. Um, so that's what we're trying to push for now, and price and localize and see what donations we can get, how many we can get donated, how many we have to purchase, and appliances and some furniture and things like that, table chairs, maybe a small recliner, love seat, something like that. So, but we want to focus on getting the shelters first, and then we can worry about the small furniture and things. And yeah, get them out of those damn tents before winter. There's not many shelters open. There's still a lot of people that are not going to have power through the winter. They're not. There's so much damage, and they're trying to get the debris cleaned up. They're going in and trying to run new lines and assessing the power poles, and it's such a widespread area. There's so many counties that are affected like this, and that's just the mountain life. Um, and so they're saying it's going to be 6 to 8 months before they get any type of electricity on some of these back roads. So we're doing 3 phases by the end of the year. The first phase, of course, is getting the shelters and other needed supplies and stuff in for them to survive the winter. The next phase is going to be around Thanksgiving, trying to buy 1,000 turkeys. Um, and we're actively talking to Butterball about that right now, to take to the area that we were operating in and see if we will share that information too with the other groups, to get these guys some turkey dinner and things like that. Um, and then towards Christmas, right before Christmas, getting some gifts and toys for the kids and families down there. Hartford, Tennessee was hit very hard, and I believe it. I believe it with the 30 feet of water, because where we were operating in Yancey County and in Mitchell County, and actually the North Toe River is the county line, literally the county line, and it was already half full where it had rained for 3 or 4 days before the hurricane hit when that storm stalled, and it was the same one that was raining up over here. So the banks weren't breached yet, but the river was pretty high. And then here comes good old Helene, and stalled over Mount Mitchell, and dumped anywhere between 10 and 30 inches of rain in the region. And one of the locals described it as King Kong sitting on top of Mount Mitchell, just beating down tornadoes. So you had the high winds and the high wind gusts, plus all that rain on top of where it already rained and the flooding. And the North Toe and part of the Nolichucky came up 45 to 60 feet out of its banks, um, in under 20 minutes. So that's why there's so many missing and so much damage and large death toll, because they didn't have warning. Those that tried to escape got trapped in the floodwaters. Most of them are still missing. Some of them have been found, and some of them actually survived. There was one guy Dave Keister. We were looking for, and last Thursday before we left that afternoon, but last Thursday morning we were at the SDC eating breakfast, and the comms director came over, and she told us, he's alive. You can take him off the list. First, she said you could take him off the list, and we were like, oh shit. uh, and she said he's alive. He's okay. He walked through my door last night. She's local, and we were like, oh man, praise be. That's good news. That was good news in a very negative, sad type of crushing environment. So that was really good news. And some people have interviewed him on TikTok and YouTube and stuff, and he gave his story. He was trying to drive up part of a mountain to escape and got caught in the floodwaters. So, but he is alive. He is alive. So that was really good news for us, and we didn't completely continue the search in the area that we wanted to. The 101st Airborne came that morning too, and they were backtracking over an area that had already been searched a dozen times, and we had done a secondary search on it. So, and gave them our last 10-digit grid of where we stopped, so they could go down and search that into. And there's just so much debris. There's so much debris from the flow that came down the side of the mountains and into the river. And they said the Nolichucky and the North Toe was part of Cane Creek was rushing at 70 miles an hour. So you can imagine a swath of like 100 to 300 yards wide, moving through these little river valleys at 70 miles an hour, and it's still raining. Plus, coupled with the high winds that they had, it was just absolute hell on earth. So, and it hit late at night too. Like everyone told me, we knew it was bad at 11 p.m. We really knew something was wrong around 1 a.m. So, and then the next morning, it was just absolutely horrible. Oh, Joe, thank you. Yeah, man, we did 127 hours in 8 days. Because we had to leave about middle of the afternoon. I think it was like 3:30 or 4 p.m. somewhere between 3 and 4 p.m. we left, and I had to come back because I had to work the next day, this past Friday. So I had to be up at 5 a.m. to go in. So we have some more team members down there still. My buddy Travis, he's still down there too. He saw my Bakersville post on TikTok, and he thought I was in Bakersville today. And he messaged me and he said, "Hey, you on your way there? I'll meet you." And I was like, "No, unfortunately, I'm back up here working, but I'll work until actually tomorrow night is my last day of this set, and then I'm off for a while." So we're going back November 5th. Well, we were planning on going back November 5th, and we remembered that it was a election day. So there are members that are local down there between us and Western North Carolina that will be down there on the 5th, and we're leaving on the 6th to go down. So and go down and coordinate with folks down there, and go talk to some of the local vendors and stuff. Not we're gonna hit like Farm Fleet and our Fleet Farm Fleet, I think it is. And some of the corporate centers we're going to hit last. I know they've probably been hit up a lot, so we're going to hit some of the local places too. We want to keep the local businesses going down there. Some of them out in the deep mountain areas. Even with Starlink, the PCI it's not compatible with the Starlink because of the encryption. So a lot of them are taking cash. They won't take a card. So if you go into those areas to drop off supplies or anything, make sure that you do take cash with you. There's many of the gas stations that are open, so don't believe everything you see on some of these rumor posts. And as far as like trap people and things like that too, because if they are, the first thing we ask is give us a road or a location or an address, an exact location, so we can go get them out. And most of them can't because it's like playing the game of telephone. It's just disaster rumors. It happens every single disaster. So and so's trapped up on the mountain. Nobody's talked to them in 10 to 22 days. They don't have anything. And there are some remote areas that they're still accessing. But for the most part, if they can't give you an exact location or a road name or an address, then yeah, Yeah, we don't pursue that as hard. We'll call the locals in the area at some of the supply centers we have because they coordinate. I mean, there's the whole community. Everybody knows everybody. That's just how it is in Appalachia. Um, that's how mountain folk live, you know. Um, so they're going to know something. So if somebody tells you that and they say I don't know, then 9 times out of 10 it's a bullshit rumor. But yeah, there's man, we have big plans. We're officially starting an organization because of this, where everybody pulled together. Um, and it's not people from just like where I live. I mean, there's people in Georgia, Alabama, Western North Carolina, East Tennessee, Middle and West Tennessee, Kansas, Arkansas, Texas, Kentucky, Georgia, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York. We're going to start a nationwide group. Um, that way, if there's something that's affecting another region, then hey, if you're with a team in this state, you know, you got some guys that can go, you can help. For larger events like this, we can all coordinate and hit different counties so you know what teams and what counties and things like that. That's just as far as the SOPs on the operational side. But yeah, I'm trying to, you know, we'll get the grants and get the funding, but we got to get all the paperwork started, get the red tape and shit out of the way. But yeah, because most of this was down there has been coordinated. FEMA might get pissed off at me. I used to work for them back in the day, and YouTube might get mad too. We didn't see him there. Hold on. I think there's a cat in the pool. Stand by. No, okay, we're good. Sorry about that. They're actually they're on the rim of the pool and they would knock the fucking liner. Anyhow, so where was I? Oh yeah. So we moved in, coordinated with different just volunteers from out of state, community organizations, things like that, churches. They set up a lot of the supply points too. Their own little supply area for their community. So all we did was just network with all of them. What do you need? What are you lacking? Do you need more supplies? Things like that. Shared contact numbers so they can call us if they needed anything. We would go back down. If they couldn't access people because the roads were washed out or damaged, then we would hike in all of these supplies: water, food, medicine, heaters, blankets, sleeping bags, whatever, tents, cots that they needed. Um, Soap, dish detergents, diapers, formula, whatever they needed, we would take it and we would just hike it in on our backs. Uh, but there was no Salvation Army there. And 3 counties and Yancey, Mitchell, and Avery. And our southernmost point was Burnsville. Our northernmost point was Unicoi. And of course, southwest from that was Irwin. So we kind of used Unica Mountain and Iron Mountain as our like buffer. Uh, but for the most part, Irwin, Carter, Unicoi, they were good. They were good. They were getting lots of supplies in, but we still backed them up if they needed us to. Um, we went as far east as about the Roan Mountain area, then down to Spruce Mountain, just north of Spruce Mountain. We did check on Mitchell Mountain, those folks there, but the ones out of Bat Cave, Black Mountain, Spruce Mountain, Spruce Pine, rather, I'm sorry, had that area and they had it pretty good because Burnsville was right there and they were like the main supply hub. So we were in Beulah Dean between Bakersville, or actually Red Hill, and Unicoi. So we had that main supply hub for Mitchell County that we would ship out to all the other supply points that needed it. We went as far west as Wolf Laurel because the main supply point on that other side was Hot Springs, and those guys were busy. They were. I feel for them. They started that thing with 150 people, and those were all people in the community. That's how most of it started in the event. So we just everybody coordinated with each other, and then all these other groups that you see posting on TikTok, and you know Burnsville and Asheville and Black Mountain, and the ones up in Boone and Trade and Hartford. Man, there was so many towns, especially in Tennessee, um, and they all coordinated that area. You know, Chimney Rock, to Blowing Rock. Statesville was okay. So yeah, when we all just we're starting now to coordinate north, south, central a few days ago, because they're moving into parts of our area that they thought was bad, and we're like, no, we're good, we're good. Um, Here's our information, shared it with them, so everybody's on the same page now. And it's all out of state volunteers, in state volunteers, community groups, and churches. Everybody talking to each other. The North Carolina National Guard came in and dropped off some supplies and some medical supplies, and we just asked them, "What's your mission?" And they said, "Scout, find supply points and drop it off." So we just handed our information. Here you go. Here's the ones for Mitchell and Yancey and part of Avery counties. And they were like, nice. So they would go back to one of our supply points or the main SDC and say for uh, Buladine, they would go there and pick up supplies and then take it out wherever it needed to go. So they were running our supply routes with the supply centers that we already had established. So they didn't have to go all the way back to Avery Airport and then drive all the way back into the county. It was already established. We had networked all of it. And it was amazing. It was amazing to see everybody pull together like that. But the FEMA response is very slow going. They are notifying people, hey, we'll be in this region or this part of the county and stuff to come in and get the individual assistants, the IA people in there so they can start doing their thing. And most of the locals right now are to the point. There's my wife. Angie went with me too down there. Her first disaster. I'm so proud of her. But yeah, they're trying to get into there. But for the most part, the people are like, we don't need FEMA now. We don't. That's the general consensus. You know, there was a delay in the response. Many are frustrated with that. And Appalachian folk always take care of each other. So their general consensus is we don't need them. You know, you waited this long. We don't need you now. We got this. So many construction companies and heavy equipment operators from out of state have come in to start cleaning up the creeks and reclaiming bridges and you know helping with DOT, NCDOT to rebuild these roads so they can get other equipment and supplies in. But yeah, North Carolina National Guard, man, they've been a blessing. Samaritan's Purse was there. And honestly, I'll say this, if it wasn't for Samaritan's Purse, a lot of people would be hurting. They were bringing hot food in for people and many supplies. They were gutting houses. They were cleaning up people's yards, cleaning up debris, and trying to help these people get back on their feet and bringing them everything they needed: sleeping bags, food, water, new boots, new socks, new clothes. And they were everywhere. So even in Burnsville, at Roses, right off 19, it's actually right across from Main Street, South Main, in Burnsville. You saw the helicopter, that the Black Hawk that flew over. The tarps are flying up, and everybody's bitching they destroyed our supplies, and the supplies weren't destroyed. We called that Mad Max Costco. That was the main supply area for Burnsville and part of Black Mountain and things like that. But Samaritan's Purse was all over that place, helping to coordinate cars coming in to drop off supplies, locals coming in to pick up supplies. They had 2 lines, and it worked great. The one thing FEMA did do, I will say this, because when we showed up on the 6th, I think it was the 6th. Sorry, everything's a blur. The last 3 weeks have been absolute shit. But when we showed up, only 7 of the 241 communications towers in Western North Carolina were working. We were commuting everything through text. If you were in an area that you had good service, you could call. Someone else did, that's fine. But 99% of the communication was done through text. We hit the towers enough they had just enough bars on your phone that you were able to text, and that communication was great. When we were out doing active SAR operations, search and recovery operations, we had radios with us and earpieces and stuff, not like Secret Service shit, but yeah, so we could communicate with each other because we were spread out in long distances. So what FEMA did, I'll get to that. What FEMA did is they took their MAL vehicles, so Mobile Emergency Operations Vehicle, MEOV, So basically, what that is, it's like a rolling communications truck. So satellite communication, Wi-Fi, things like that. And what they from all the way from Knoxville around the entire area that was affected, they staged those vehicles and basically created a communications web um, for those counties that were affected in western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee, and southwest Virginia. So it was amazing for a setup to be able to keep up that communications for people that were trapped in certain areas, so we could they can communicate back out to public safety or to someone in their community, and we can get into them pretty fast. That was pretty impressive too. Yeah, non-essential travel. So what we had, and it's funny. I think I posted a picture on here last week, right after the sign was made. So in Green Mountain, we have church groups coming in, cleaning out some of the buildings, cleaning out this 96-year-old woman's house. We're coming through, dropping off supplies to them. There's a few people, and we knew it was going to happen. Not this past weekend, but the weekend before, because it was right after the event. There was this big call and people putting up, we need stuff. So all of these church groups and semi trucks and everything else from out of state were wanting to come in and drop off supplies. That's cool. But as of last Saturday or Sunday, we actually, or not this past weekend, the weekend before, I'm sorry, we had to turn away one of the Chinooks because we had so many supplies, so much water, clothes, things like that. So many of the places were turning away those, and people were getting pissed. They traveled hundreds of miles, and we were telling them, hey, go to this next supply point. They need clothes, so you just have to go a little bit further down the road, maybe another 20, 30 minutes, but they do need what you have, and you could drop it off there. So most, I guess, thought they were going to come in, drop it off, and then split, and that didn't happen. And many we turned away and said, hey, we're not taking that, and we try to redirect them to somewhere that did need those supplies. It was crazy that weekend. And then the semi truck convoys that were coming in, and people were messaging me, where do you want us to go? And I would send them to Irwin, to one of the points there, or Greenville, or Burnsville, because we literally, you had no access off of I-26 if you were coming from the north or the west. Of course, 40 was destroyed, but you had 25 was okay, and a couple others. But I-26, pretty much from south of Irwin, was shut down, and they shut it again at the Tennessee-North Carolina border. So it's like you can bring a semi, but there's a state trooper there, a state police, Tennessee State Police, that's going to turn your truck around and tell you to go back north. So because they did not want that heavy traffic on the road, especially since some were washed out and it was one lane road and you couldn't take a semi across there anyways. It was too dangerous, because you would see the edge of the road like this, but it was undermined by about 2 or 3 or sometimes 4 feet in some places. So it would have just went into the river or on the riverbank. So that, and people wanting to sightsee, seeing all this stuff on the news and all the social media posts, and so you know that you have the tourists that want to come in basically and sightsee and take all these pictures, and this is bad, I saw it firsthand. And so we at Green Mountain, they put up a sign that said pretty much, we've had enough of sightseeing, make yourself useful or make yourself scarce. And that was the truth. If you're going to come in, you're going to ask to volunteer, get the hell out. You're more useful picking up a shovel and helping, and that's what they needed at the time, was manpower more than supplies. So oh yeah, I mean, there's people that their phones were dead, and they were trying to get them to register, and they're like, oh well, you can call or you can go to this DRC, and they can't even get off their damn hill because of all the debris. And then you have so many people bringing in supplies and clogging up the road. So we were hitting some of the remote back areas, and then people would pull over to help. Hey, we got 3 truckloads of stuff and supplies and hand tools. That's awesome. You're helping the community, but don't park in the middle of the fucking road. Pull off into an area, because there are emergency vehicles going through there. There is law enforcement. There are other people local that are trying to run supplies and stuff. So if you go into these areas to drop off supplies, don't park in the middle of the damn road. Don't clog up one lane of the road. Park a little bit further down and walk back. Drop off some supplies and your tools there, and then go park somewhere. And there's plenty of fields around there too. We had that issue in Green Mountain where there was people, dump trucks trying to get dirt to take some of the garbage away and pull some dirt in, and people were just blocking the damn road, and or they would go speeding by at 100 miles an hour, and it's like there's no point for that. So use your noggin, folks. Use your noggin. Be respectful. These people are trying to recover, and if you're not helping to get the aid in there, we had helicopters landing in the road at Green Mountain. So you don't want to fly around a curve 100 miles an hour and run into a damn helicopter. That'll be a bad day for you and your insurance company. All right, let's read some more here. I'll have to check on that with the teams down in Old Fort. There was some the Swannanoa all the way to Old Fort was bad. It was really bad. As far as condemning homes, that's not for FEMA to decide. But they don't want the residents going back into a dangerous, environment. But that's all these people have as far as shelter right now. And many of them did. There was a few that were trying to fix a road, and there was a bunch of them in a car that tried to come down. And of course, they're rental vehicles. So they came down, and they were trying to fix this, and they had cones up and stuff, trying to fix the road. And FEMA tried to go around the cones and stuff and go down to the other end of the road, and the road wasn't there. That's why they were trying to fix it. So they told them, kick rocks. They told them that today in Back Cave, kick rocks, get out of the area. So if you go to Google Maps, you'll see that little red circle with a white line through it that said the road's closed. There's a lot of roads in that area that will say that because they're fixing the roads, and that's why they don't want through traffic there. So don't be a dickhead and then just try to drive down a closed road, because many of them are. Toe River Road, I'll tell you right now, from Green Mountain is closed. The road is gone. It is just wiped out. They got 3 cones sitting there with some tape. It's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. It just looks like a hillside with asphalt chip, and certain sections of the road just laying on the side. There's a lot of roads out there like that. If you don't know the area, there's many detours that you can get to some of these sections to access, which is what we had to do the first few days to get to people. And it's like that in Burnsville too. So yeah, but if you're organizing or loading semi trucks to take supplies down there, make sure you have a contact local there that they'll, 1, allow that semi into, and 2, they can access it, because they're still removing like debris from the side of the road from the trees. So many trees down, so many trees. And if you've lived in or around a hurricane zone, you've seen the trees snap. This was like every other mountaintop, and in some of the valleys, especially on Iron Gap, going from Unicoi to Beulah-Dean. And there's one local hero there. He was a logger, had his own logging company, I think in Limestone Cove, right at the base of the mountain on the Tennessee side. And after the storm went through, he took his own equipment and some chainsaws and drove up the mountain and cleared it by himself to gain access into Beulah-Dean, so those people could get supplies from Unicoi and Irwin, because the interstate's right there on outside of Unicoi and Irwin. So once the waters went down and stuff and he cleared the mountain, they were able to get some supplies down and into those people. But I don't know the guy's name. I don't know the name of the company. But yeah, he's a true hero. I mean, single-handedly all night by himself, exhausted, just so they could get access to him. That's the kind of people that are down there. That's the kind of volunteers, and he's local, but that's the kind of volunteers we have down there now. Is you need something, we'll do it. We'll get it. You want us to help clean, we'll do it. Search and recovery will do it. I mean, if you need a piece of equipment, we'll call someone and get it. Darren, if you're watching from Bowling Green, Kentucky, you are amazing too. He helped us out. He came up from Girton outside of Hendersonville. Called me that morning, said, "Hey, I got one job, and then I'll meet you." Because we were working on a debris pile for a possible body recovery. We never found the body on that pile, but he came up and used his own fuel and had some of his guys, and his wife came with him, and he got that skid steer, and for 9.5 hours, and they had a buggy. For 9.5 hours, we were working on that pile. And then there was another company. I don't want to butcher the name. It was Bayou something. Jeff, he's on my TikTok as well. Their guys are amazing cooks, and they cook chicken and rice and brisket and stuff like that, and brought it to us like 3 miles out from Green Mountain on a buggy where we were working along the river, just so we could have some hot food. So everyone was taking care of everybody. The accountability was amazing for such a large event and so many people and so many organizations. And they were from Alabama as well. So South Alabama and people from Mississippi. I mean, all over the United States, Kansas, Iowa, Nebraska. The one guy we had that drove 3 days from California, Dean, drove from Bakersfield, California. Bakersfield, I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, and everybody was working together. Everybody performed multi roles and had multiple skill sets, and so they were utilized everywhere they were needed, and everybody got along. It was great. It was absolutely amazing. So yeah, volunteers do rock, Big Dog Mall. Volunteers do rock. It was impressive to watch. From being on so many disasters and seeing just the disorganization and miscommunication. And that was the biggest thing for us, was communication and access. If those two fail from the beginning, then the entire event will collapse. And it was impressive to watch. Um, and that showed me what the true heart of America was. When you hear about all this division, and then you go down there and you see it firsthand of the unity. It was amazing, which is why you see so many hashtags on social media, Unite the Tribes, because basically it was like a bunch of tribes coming together, to work for a common goal and a greater good. And there is still hope, folks. There is still hope. And we were joking, calling ourselves a redneck emergency DoorDash down there, because we were driving around and dropping off supplies to people everywhere. So we had, little snippets and little jokes and stuff for certain places that we would go to, like the Mad Max Costco in Burnsville, there at Roses at their SDC. So even in a worse situation, everyone can laugh about it, no matter how silly it is. But yeah, it should renew your faith in the country, especially with Appalachian folk. They always take care of each other. But it wasn't just Appalachian folk taking care of Appalachian folk. I mean, shit, you had people from the Midwest. There's people in Oregon sending stuff. That girl that's helping in Minnesota to get those tiny houses that we're trying to get for shelters for these folks. I mean, all over the place. There is hope in America still. In the worst situation, and what they're saying now is the worst recorded storm in U.S. history. It was just very humbling to see, and gave us even more of a sense of gratitude. And the people down there are so grateful for everything we did. Getting a lot of messages. I've been getting a lot of messages about the body count. People pissed off. Why aren't they telling us the true number and all this stuff? Because it's constantly ongoing. Um, there was 5 bodies found in 4 days, 100 in a 6-mile stretch, and that was just one river. Hot Springs, they told us they were pulling out from the beginning, and this was last week, 200 bodies. The beginning of last week, 200 bodies since the beginning, and the Hot Springs area, Hot Springs, Wolf Laurel. So, you have to be able to, especially with the decomp, as long as they've been out there in the elements, the hot, and then freezing and getting warm again. they're identifying by dental records, and you have to notify families and things like that, and they have to do their investigation, and where it's a big deal, so it takes time. So you're not going to have an exact count, and there's many that are missing, that are buried in mud and silt and debris that hasn't been searched yet. The cadaver dogs are absolutely overworked. They're overwhelmed. The handlers are the same way. Pretty much all of the rescuers and recovery teams. And it's going to take time. It might be years before you find close to an exact count of a number. But it is in the hundreds, and in some areas thousands of casualties from this incident. So we don't want to focus on that, and that's what pisses me off the most, especially with comments on YouTube and TikTok. Is when people start on that, it's like, why are you focusing on the ones lost? Yeah, it sucks. They're missing. We want to have that closure for their family, which is why we're down there doing recovery. We're searching for those, but we need to focus on the survivors. I found out this morning, actually, from a teammate down there, that there was a 5-year-old that had been in his house. His parents were deceased. He had actually wandered out of the house and came up across a group of rescuers that were delivering supplies and going out. And he had been eating the food out of his house for 3 weeks. And the 5-year-old is okay. The 5-year-old is okay. But the rescuers went in, they retrieved those bodies and stuff, and took the kid to get medical attention, and he is okay. But I mean, it's just tragic things like that are happening, still 3 weeks after. So that's what we're trying to focus on the survivors of this event, and keep them alive, especially through the winter. And if you haven't been into the western North Carolina mountains, or the higher mountain ranges, we're working at 2,300 to 3,300 feet, and then the higher peaks are 5,100 feet plus.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, we were working. I think our shortest day was 12 hours, 12 or 14 hours, and we were working up to 18 hours. Just after dark. Get up 5 o'clock in the morning, go down, get some breakfast, do a briefing, and there was multiple meetings during the day. But when we were out in the field all day, we were out there for 14, 16, 18 hours straight. There's times that we would be going from different locales, the way that the roads are in mountains. We would get a text, hey, I need supplies here, I need a heater here, we need propane here. So we'd run back to the SDC and take it from there first. Excuse me. And while we were there, Jennifer and Misty, especially Megan, would literally stop us and make us go get something hot to eat. They would sit us down, or make sure we sat down for 5 minutes to get some fluids, water, electrolyte drinks, and make sure that we got some hot grub in our bellies before we went back out in the field. And they looked after us a lot. Everybody looked after each other, but as hard as we were working, they constantly made sure that we were getting some type of hot food or nutrition, because you can only live so long in the field on chewy bars and cheese and peanut butter crackers. And we did have MREs with us. But yeah, it was little things like that, sit down, or we'd get it, and we'd eat on the go. We'd put it in the truck and head back down the road. So we do appreciate all of the prayers, all of the blessings, all of the thoughts, and the well wishes. It did mean a lot, and it gave us a moral strength to keep going every day. I know it sounds cheesy, but it did, because there's somebody there that on the outside just waiting for us to put up some post of good news, like Dave Keister being found. That was a huge relief to us Thursday, because Wednesday, when we uncovered that pile and pushed the silt in the mud, and we got down to virgin soil and we didn't find anything, that's the hard part about the very hard emotional roller coaster of doing recovery, as you want to find somebody, but you feel bad when you do, but you bring the family closure at the same time. And then when you're certain that all the signs lead up to somebody being in that debris, and you don't find anybody, it's kind of crushing. So you get this feeling like, I'm glad nobody was there, but at the same time you wanted to find somebody. So recovery teams, it's very mentally difficult and emotionally difficult for things like that. Um, so when people telling us, hey, keep searching, and that was our grind, was keep searching. We're going to find another one. We're going to find another one. So when we heard about Dave being found alive Thursday morning at breakfast, um, that just raised our spirits even more. Guys, hang tight for 2 seconds. I'm going to get the phone stand, and I got to charge my phone. So let me get that. I should have got that set up to begin with. So I will give you guys a heads up right now. I am doing a StreamYard panel Wednesday night. I don't know if anybody else has anything planned. I'll double check and see if we can coordinate it maybe early afternoon. But that way we can go over some things, and if anybody has any questions about what happened down there, thoughts and concerns, don't get on there and ask me for a missing persons list, because it's too big to even share on YouTube or TikTok. But we will have a stream on Wednesday night. So bring whatever your favorite drink is. Friday night we have a gathering here, so all right. Stand by, and we will get this thing situated. Maybe I got this nice little nifty device from Benjamin Tuning. There we go. Now you can see the other end of the porch. Good deal. So yeah, we'll go for a StreamYard. I think I got the stand right. I need to get me one of those cool TF mics. So yeah, that's the struggle with recovery. That's the tough part. But you just keep pushing until you can find more and more and more. So as of yesterday, they started phasing out SAR teams. So at the federal and the state level, so search and recovery operations are pretty much at the end. I mean, it's at the 3-week mark. So the chances of finding more and focusing all the resources on that, finding anybody now is slim, because so many are buried in silt and mud and other debris that probably way back. There was people that were washed as far as 60 miles away into Erwin, Tennessee. They're trying to clear the debris in Erwin and parts of Unicoi along the Nolichucky River to find more people. For those that don't know, it flows from north or from south to north into Erwin. So there's still going to be local efforts. I know we're going to make a few more passes on recovery operations, but that's not our priority. That's not our primary focus right now. Our primary mission is to get these people shelters and take care of the living. Take care of the survivors. So it's been rough. It's been tough. It was a hard 8 days down there. The second week of the disaster, we're starting to get more organized and coordinated now. and so many counties between local groups. We didn't have an issue of looting. We never had one incident in many of these areas. The other thing we're focusing on is the farmers. You know, getting feed, grain, hay, fencing materials, and things like that into these guys. So there's many farmers from out of state that had brought supplies down for them and feed and stuff. Uh, Actually, one of my friends, he owns a farm 2 miles down the road from our farm here. Went and got $500 worth of feed and a bunch of brown bills. Him and some of the other local farmers, and I gave him a contact point in Beulah Dean, so they're taking it down there. So at that same farm, they're dropping this stuff off. The local farmers can come to that same point and pick up whatever they need, like the little pop-up house kits, electric fencing, cattle fencing, like cattle wire and cattle gates, the panels, cattle panels rather, um, T-posts, round posts, hay feed, whatever. Um, I don't know about the one on TV, the Big Dog Mall, but we have a girl in Minnesota that she doesn't live too far from where the Amish make their tiny homes. So she's going to talk to them. Another nice lady told me about her cousin in Maine. He makes the tiny homes from Maine. Literally, that's the name of it if you Google it. And they're pretty nice. So we're going to contact him tomorrow or Wednesday and see if he's willing to donate some, or at least give us a huge discount on purchasing, so we can get these shipped down to Western North Carolina, East Tennessee, and Southwest Virginia, so these people can have shelter uh, through the winter. And then we can focus on like appliances and a little bit of furniture, whatever form, and um, or at least getting electric hooked up through the generators. And we have tons of electricians down there. We have carpenters and plumbers. I mean, so many hands. And they're working their ass off. The linemen are, and the power companies, especially from out of state, on getting power hooked up. So Beulah Dean downtown has power. I know Red Hill has power. Green Mountain does not. Um, Part of Bakersville does. Burnsville. So yeah, well, that's now we just need to hit the back roads, and they won't have power for 6 to 8 months. So we have to focus on that. You know, keeping these people alive. But yeah, if you know any contacts, I mean, absolutely share it. Absolutely share it. You can hit me up. Just throw it in the comments. Um, on I think it's the Farm Supply uh, contact post that I put up. You can comment it in there, and or anybody local to you. We really want to boost our local economy too. So there's a couple of tiny house places down there too that we want to hit up and get these people the appropriate shelter they need so they can stay warm and stay dry and stay fed. I mean, there's plenty of food and water in Western North Carolina and Eastern Tennessee. There's no shortage of that at all. There's more diapers than there are babies in North Carolina, so we're good on formula and diapers and bottles and baby food. My God, there was just boxes and boxes of jars of baby food. You know, the step 1 through step, I think 5 or 6. And diapers size 1 through 7. There's tons of that there. But yeah, we'd appreciate it. And even building materials, you know, we're going to try. We're hitting up the sawmills. There was one between Red Hill and Beulah Dean, Compton's. We're going to try and see if we can talk to them too. I'm pretty sure they're probably. I can't speak for them. They might focus on the barns and homes or both. But we're going to hit every avenue that we can to help these people out. You know, we got the major supplies and the minor supplies, and now we just need to focus on the shelters. Uh, do I have a list? Yeah, I can actually tonight before I go to bed, I can throw another list of needed supplies. I think I can't remember if it was here on TikTok. I don't think I shared it on Instagram. But there is a list of needed supplies. There is a list of the supplies for the farm when it's on the community posts that I had put out the past few days. I'll tell you what, after all this, after the recovery, most are over the initial shock, and then now is the gratitude of all the volunteers coming in and people helping. But many times, just after 2 or 3 months, people forget about them, and we cannot let that happen. Man, we cannot let that happen. You saw what happened in Hawaii. Um, some Floridians after Milton feel left out right now as well. Because I mean, hell, they got hit twice. They didn't have time to breathe and stand up, and boom, got hit again. So there's a lot of focus on Western North Carolina, and there's some Floridians that are feeling left out, and you guys aren't forgotten either. We're just taking it one step at a time, one storm at a time. Um, so don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged. We haven't forgot about you. We have not forgotten about the Flatlanders in Florida. So there's some in East Georgia too. There's still people that are cutting up trees. But I guarantee you, in the South, there's going to be one hell of a bonfire next fall. And that's about September, October. That's when everything is going to. I mean, willing that there's no storms that hit again. I hope not, but next year. But yeah, there's going to be one hell of a party in the South after all this is after the end of the recovery. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you. I don't think I'm glad you said that, son, honey, because I don't think I put that list on any of the lists on Wolf's server. I'm not going to ask him to create a special channel for it, but yeah, definitely share it. Definitely share it with those folks. Absolutely. I need to create the new email so I can throw it up so you guys can email me with any questions and things like that as well. Between this and work and home, it's been very stressful, very exhausting. Um, done it for many years, so we'll push through this. And we're starting the organization, and especially for the fundraising, and we're making everyone a team member. So it's not like, hey, you're giving money to our team. Everybody is going to be a team member. Um, everybody's going to be involved. That is the way that we're planning it. So you're not just, okay, thank you for your money, and then you split and you're ignored, because everybody that donates, everyone that helps, is part of the team that's helping down there. You're just at a distance than us being right there in town and in these communities, but you're still just as important. So that's one of the major things that we're focusing on too. Everybody's active, everybody's involved, everybody's on the team. And this is going to be a huge endeavor. Yeah, it'll take years. I mean, everything right now being done is just temporary down there. The roads, bridges, things like that. There's over 100 bridges that need completely replaced. These weren't 100-year-old bridges. These weren't. Oh, what is that organization in the 30s? The Conservation Corps bridges that were built. A lot of these bridges were new. They were 8 years old or less, and they're completely destroyed now. The bridge from Green Mountain over to Whitson Branch was one bridge that was less than 8 years old. And it snapped the columns at the water line, flipped 3 sections of the bridge. This is what really, really, really caught. This is what hit me in the chest. For the force of water and that power of debris flow, amazing power. Just imagine like a bazooka full of just trees and rocks and limbs being shot down a river. It flipped 3 spans of the bridge, broke all 3 spans when the columns were snapped and washed out. And it flipped those 3 spans of the bridge upside down. I have a picture of it. But that's what made me realize this shit was bad. You see all the videos and stuff, the water rushing down, but to flip those 3 spans, 40 feet wide, some about 60 feet long,
or 20 by 40s, to flip that much concrete and still upside down and all three spans. That was just shocking to see. That really hit me hard. So, yeah, they said 70 miles an hour is what they told us. It came 45 to 60 feet out of the banks. We saw a church steeple, and it was 60 feet up was the water line, in under 20 minutes. In under 20 minutes. Uh, they had no warning. They had no time, because it wasn't like little flood, little flood, little flood. It was like a little bit of water, and then a massive amount of water, and it just boom up. And there, you can see it on actually videos of people recorded their houses in the area. One where they're on their porch and they're just watching the flow stream of the flooding, like a flash flood you would see normally. And then all of a sudden there was this huge debris flow, just trees and water coming down the hillside at their house. And they ran back inside the house. I mean, that was like that everywhere down there. No, the Corps of Engineers is not. And for those that don't know, the Corps of Engineers is the primary debris removal service for the federal government. FEMA actually contracts them out. They pay the Corps of Engineers to go in with heavy equipment. Most of them are like NCDOT, TDOT, going in, tree companies and other companies going in to do debris removal. There are some private companies, volunteers from out of state, that are helping to do that too. But yeah, Corps of Engineers has not been in to assess the bridges yet, just NCDOT, and they're passing it up the chain. It's going to take a while to replace all of this, and especially how the bridge was constructed. I think they're going to be more autonomous when they rebuild the bridges. I don't know as far as like putting breakers or dams in on some parts of the river, because it's normally shallow. And the Nolichucky, the North Toe, and Cane Creek, the water was clear. I mean, before all of this, it's crystal clear, great fly fishing, and now it's green. It's just a dark green from all of the septic system, the sewage, other contaminants. There was fertilizers from farms. There was vehicles in the water, the oil, the gas, and all the fluids from that. And just the water is absolutely contaminated right now. So, and we've told teams that came in with boats, hey, we can put in a search here. You don't want to get in that water, Even when we were doing our recovery, our search and recovery, we stayed out of the water. We would go over and we'd look in the shallows, but we would stay out of the water. Things in there that'll just ruin your clothes and forever. So, and we didn't want to use all the bottled water that was shipped in for decontamination efforts. So yeah, it was bad. Well, yeah, I'm not going to, Joe, it sucks, but I'm not going to politicize this, because um, that part of North Carolina is very staunch Democrat, Southern Democrat, the old Southern Democrat. So it's just been their way of life for years, but they're good people. And when this happened, it didn't discriminate. It didn't care what your faith was. It didn't care what your political beliefs were. It affected everybody. And everybody that was down there that was working was from different faiths and different political beliefs, different backgrounds, different areas of the United States. And it didn't matter. That shit was the very last thing people thought about. It was about, helping these communities and stuff like that. And there was a lot of anger from people, even there, about how the government had handled this. But the boots on the ground, we didn't give a shit. And the locals have the right to feel that way, But the local governments, top notch, top notch. And I will give this shout out, and I hope he sees it. Sheriff Jeremy Hilliard of Yancey County, North Carolina, has been so overwhelmed and so busy. Um, doing the damage assessments, checking on the community. 10% of his force, 10% of his force had their houses severely damaged or destroyed. So, you know, he had his own deputies in their homes when this storm hit, and almost swept away, you know, and their families. He worked 170, 175 hours last week. I mean, he's a true public servant, and that's just one county in North Carolina. Um, but the local governments have been overwhelmed and overstressed, but entirely grateful for the volunteers that came in from out of state. The mayor of Asheville, the mayor of Burnsville, Bakersville. I mean, they were all absolutely just astonished, impressed, and grateful for all of the efforts, for all the volunteers that came down. They've been top notch. They are true public servants doing what they need to do to take care of their communities. And yeah, you're right. It should be people helping people always. It shouldn't be the bullshit and the petty talk, you know, between different parts of the country. And I think this proved to a lot of people that you don't have to have that to unite. You don't have to have the same faith. You don't have to have the same political belief. You know, there was Christian pastors coming over and, hey, can we pray for you guys before you go? Knowing I'm a Norse pagan, and hey, it's a blessing of safety. Have at it, shoot, go for it. And we would check on them. Do you guys have enough water? Did you eat today? Do you need a hand with anything? You guys overwhelmed doing something? So that was true unity down there, and it wasn't for personal clout or ego. It was to help those communities down there. First and foremost, that was the number one thing. And even though there's people bringing supplies down there and they're getting redirected or refused, those people are they are grateful. They're grateful because people are willing to buy thousands of dollars worth of supplies and travel hundreds of miles just to check on them and say, are you okay? Here's some food. Here's some warm jacket. Here's some new boots. Is very impressive. But yeah, we need to have a huge fundraiser or several fundraisers over the next 2 or 3 months to get these people what they need. Some people say, well, let's wait and see what FEMA's going to do. Let's see what HUD's going to do. We're not waiting. If you've worked in government work, you know it's going to take up to a year, and these people are on a very short time limit right now before winter. So we need to take care of them first and let the rest of that slide. Big Dog Mall, I'm going back November 6th. I was actually going to go in November 5th is election day. That was the date that was planned. So I was actually going to go vote that morning, pack the car the night before, go vote that morning, and then head down there. So I would actually I would know who the next president would be in North Carolina while I was in North Carolina. But we're going to wait till the 6th, probably the morning of the 6th, and go down. So I can tell you who the next president is going to be, but some people might not like it. But yeah, so and we had from Adrian and Ian, they both donated, and we had $533 and some change in donations on PayPal. Ian lives in North Carolina. He lives near, not in, but near Boone. Ian, I'm going to loud you out if you're watching. Man, he had lots of friends affected by this. He was in the affected region, and he donated money to help people out in Western North Carolina. So he's top notch to me. He's top notch. We had one kid. He's actually from Burnsville. He lived in Beuladine. And when Burnsville called and said, hey, we need critical supplies. And critical supplies at the time was propane, butane, camp stoves, heaters, The toppers, so the 20 pounders, the buddy heaters, the smaller tanks. Um, he ran around with us all day, and Burnsville's like, yeah, bring it to us. We need this stuff. So we brought them a few extra things as well, knowing that they weren't, they didn't need clothes and things, but other food items. Um, and we took 4 truckloads. Now this is 3 pickup trucks. Kendra and Jason from Greenville, thank them too. They came up and would go home, come back up, go back home to volunteer. But there was 2 young children, and I'm not going to say children, 2 like kids. To me, they're kids, but 2 men in their 20s, and they had a utility dump. So it's like a flatbed with a raised back and doors, dually. Loaded that thing down with heaters and propane and stuff, and drove it down to Burnsville and offloaded it. And they were so grateful for it. And we get back, and one of the guys that was riding with us, Dean, we called him Little Dean because we had 2 Deans on our team. So Little Dean, we get back to the SDC late that night, and he's like, man, I hope it's not cold in my house. And he was just down the road from the community center, from the SDC, Supply Distribution Center. And we were like, why didn't you grab a heater? So we went in, got 2 20-pound tanks and a heater, and some warm socks and blankets and stuff for him. So that's how selfless these people are in state, the locals, and how selfless the volunteers were. Is he made sure that everyone else was taken care of before himself. And then when we get back, and he mentioned that we were not letting him leave until we knew that he was going to be, fed and his house was warm and he had water. He's prior service too. He was U.S. Army, served a tour in Afghanistan. So we weren't letting him go back to his house cold and stay that night. And then the next night, the power came back on in Beulah Dean, but he didn't get power yet. So we're like, if you need anything, let us know. But he had to go to work back in Burnsville. Yeah, the Starlink. So thank the gods for Elon Musk. That's all I have to say. He dumps. There's so many Starlink units down there. Travis was a big help. Somebody called and said, "Hey, I need a Starlink." Hey, take it out, show you how to set it up, show it how it works and stuff. It's the same in the entire region. Dropping off Starlinks, dropping off solar panels by helicopter, and taking it out to these people. There was people asking, "Hey, I need some Starlink," because they didn't have cell service, but we knew that they can do Wi-Fi calling to communicate or text to be able to get out. So flooding the area with Starlink systems. And I hope they stay down there. I hope they stay down there for a long, long time or forever. Because it helped a great deal to help increase effectively communication between members in the community that were more remote to these supply centers. And that was because of Starlink and Elon Musk. Yellow Squad, Ryan Hall. Yeah, they did. They took their first, when they called Starlink, they wanted to take them down to the officials to be able to do it. And Elon wanted to do the same thing. So they donated a bunch to Ryan Hall, and Ryan donated them down there. And it just, man, it's amazing. I drove by his house like twice on the way down there. Because we were going to pop in and say, hey, if there's anything you want us to take down, we'll just load it in the pickup truck and just take it the rest of the way. Or in the SUV, but they were packing up to take stuff down there too. So, and he's actively looking for volunteers on the All Squad to work in Florida and in Western North Carolina. Yeah, literally the entire flooded region from Tennessee all the way down to Greenville, South Carolina, up to Southwest Virginia, and down to Northeast Georgia. I mean, the whole area is flooded with Starlink modules. It's impressive to see. I won't say the town names just for OPSEC reasons, for security reasons, but one town that we went into and checked on them quite frequently because it's an elderly population. They said, hey, hey, hook to our Starlink while you're here. Nah, we're okay. Trust me, we're good. We're fine as long as we can get text out and we're okay. Had the other systems and the Garmin and all that, so we were okay. A lot of the guys that brought in side by sides and things like that, even the Polaris turbos, had Garmin's on top of their vehicles, so everybody was pretty much able to communicate. Like I said earlier, it's getting a lot more organized and a lot more coordinated now. So yeah, now it's going to be a very slow process since all the rescues have occurred. The initial phase of recovery to get in there after the water went down to try to find people. The flooding of the cadaver dogs and other people that wanted to respond. And now they're phasing some of those operations out and heading into the recovery. And the recovery process is a long time, and it happens in several phases. They're still cleaning up downtown Nashville, especially over by Biltmore. I mean, there's still cars upside down, flooded with mud and shoes and papers and garbage. It's a damn mess. So you have that, and then imagine Swannanoa, Bat Cave, Mars Hill, Spruce Pine, Wolf Laurel, Roan Mountain. I mean, there's so many different places that it looks just the same as it does in downtown Nashville. Yeah, piles and piles and piles of stuff, of vehicles, of just debris from the debris flow of trees and root balls and things like that. Stand by 1 second. I'm going to go get my jacket. It's getting kind of chilly out here. Ooh, come on, Ellie. I'll take you upstairs. Upstairs. So yeah, we're still accepting the donations on PayPal. That's for needed supplies, especially critical supplies for especially propane. We can get bulk propane up here. The company my wife works for, they're also an oil company, a propane gas company and stuff. So we talked to the vice president. He frequents down here a lot. So talk to him to see what he can donate, so we can either ship that or haul it ourselves. Hauling a lot of propane is dangerous. So we're just trying to get to where we can organize the transportation safely for that, but not in a truck that's too big to get over the mountain. Because there's parts of the mountain actually on the asphalt, especially on the Tennessee side of what is the name of that road? Iron Gap Road, that you can see where it's cracking and it's going to slip because there's just so many like heavy vehicles, the electric company vehicles, the big trucks, the cherry pickers, and just other vehicles that are going up and over the mountain all the time. A lot of heavy equipment. So we want to make sure that we can still safely maintain that access through the mountains. So, oh no, Joe, man, thank you guys. I mean, everybody's been so supportive. We're just like we're the idea. You guys are the action, if that makes sense. It might sound like it's backwards, but that's not the case. You guys are the true support, because we can't do this without somebody backing us up, and that just gives those a drive to be able to do it longer and stronger. And we're going to continue to do this, and we've already told them we're going to see you guys through this. It's not a 2 week or a 1 month or a 3 month thing. We'll be down there until most likely next summer, when everything starts to become more apparent in the recovery. So bridges getting replaced and things like that. So, I mean, actually, Angie and I talked about down there on a spread, just buying a small little spot and just building this little A-frame cabin. So when we go down, we can stay there. So we're local and we can still support the people in the area. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We're trying to do at least an everyday update. You know, we want everybody to be on the same page and know what's going on down there. And I'm getting messages and updates every single day, from sun up to sundown, every day. And we're checking on the teams down there, making sure everybody's good. And if they need any supplies that we can ship down there directly. And yes, some of the roads are open that we've seen, like 226 and 197, part of 197, that we've seen UPS and Amazon trucks going through, which is a blessing. It's great to see that because they're able to get supplies and stuff into people as well. Carla, good to see you. Yeah, staying safe. I have to work tomorrow. It's the last day of the set in the ER. And then I'm off for a while. We actually have a gathering this weekend. Many of our team will be here too. And it's like it's that much needed break. So it's like we could go down this weekend, but for mental health reasons, it's good to take care of yourself and take that needed break. We normally rotate the teams in 7 to 10 days, sometimes 14 days, and then you're out for 2 weeks. Just so, and we rotate people in too as we rotate people out. So it's very important to operate that way. So everybody's not burned out, overwhelmed, stressed out. You do get a break from it. You go in, you hit it hard, you do the hardest and best job that you can, and then you take a break. Because somebody else is going to pick up the slack, and those teammates will go in and they'll pick up where you left off. And then when we rotate down, we don't go in and say, okay, we were here 2 weeks ago, we're going to take back over and do this. We're going to go in and we'll say, where did you leave off? What do we need to do? And all the ideas that we have and stuff about different operational aspects and things, it's not like one person makes the decisions. We all discuss it and then we do it. Everybody's input's just as important. That's how a team truly operates. Yeah, self-care is very important. We would debrief every night. We would go back. We would talk, go over a little bit of operational aspects during the day, and then when that stopped, it stopped. When we hit the debrief, we would have a fire, get some beer, and just relax. Change out, take a shower, get some grub in you, sit next to the fire, and just relax and talk about what we saw that day, things we could have done to make it better, but not ridicule, not criticism, just improvement, performance improvement. What are some of the things that we can expect the next day that we should be prepared for, but not be anxious about? There's a huge difference. It's anticipating the next step that's necessary, and then we can cover that, make notes, cover notes and stuff, and make sure that first and foremost, watch each other's backs, make sure that everybody is taking care of themselves. And if nobody is, hey, bro, we're all going to just sit down for a second, just relax, 5-10 minutes, and then we can hit back out and do our job. So, Big Dog Mall, thank you. You guys are amazing. You guys are absolutely amazing. And it's kind of weird too when you're I can't remember if it was yesterday or today. It felt really strange. And then everybody messaging. It might have been this morning. And it's like you just don't feel right being back. You have to do it, but you want to be down there because your team's busting ass. The other teams are, and you just want to go down there and help them. And that's a hard feeling too. But they have a mission to do, and you had a mission to do, and you completed yours. And now they're in there, and when we go back down, we know we'll have another mission to do, and then they can go. They can rotate back out and relax, and we'll just keep doing that for months and months and months, up to a year. But yeah, you guys are badass. You all are truly badass. all of the support, trying to do what you can do. Sun Honey and TF talking earlier about a fundraiser. I mean, that's just absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I even told him if I get the beard a little bit wider, and it has gotten a lot wider from this incident, I'll just go down and play Hillbilly Santa Claus when we drop all these toys off and stuff. And we're not doing it to promote a name or anything. We're doing it to help them. We're not doing it to promote a channel. This is just the easiest avenue of access to get the message out and let people know what's going on and what we're doing. And hey, if you want to be a team member, jump on board. You don't have to be down there with us. You can be right at home and still help us too. Long haul Nils. I love that. Long haul Nils. Yeah. Anywhere you go down there, though, if you run into a situation where you get lost or whatever, just mention Iron Wolf, and they'll know who you're talking about. But hey, I'm friends with Iron Wolf. Oh, okay, and they'll do the best they can to help you. But I guarantee, if you do go down there to take supplies, if you just get a hair and you want to run down there and drop off supplies somewhere, make sure you take cash. Because of, like I mentioned earlier, where some of the gas stations and stores, they're only operating off cash because they're having an issue with the Starlink working with the PCI for the encryption codes for the secure transactions. So many of them are not running Verifone credit card machines or the other ones. So, and it helps support them immediately with the cash. You know, they have cash on hand to help boost their economy. Cletus McFarland, yeah, Cletus McFarland was down there. Who was the other one? Todd. Yeah, many of those helicopter pilots. There's a lot of them that are civilians that bought their own helicopters, like Cletus, and there's others that are active duty military that have their own or their agency. Hold on, deer running through. There's a lot of them that they're active duty military pilots. Army helicopter pilots, and some of them are tasked SOAR pilots as well. And you know, with the agency, the civilian helicopter rescue agency they belong to, some days they rotate out machines, you know, because of stress maintenance, things like that. And they're badass pilots. We watched them land right in the middle of 197 in Green Mountain. He just came down equal with the road and just hovered over and landed right on the road underneath the tree canopy. It was impressive to watch, and jumped out and delivered Starlinks and solar panels. And then they go back to their active duty military job, and then they'll come back in on a weekend. They'll get a weekend pass and come in, or get a few days pass and hop in that civilian aircraft and complete the civilian mission that they're assigned. You have a basement to hold some donations? Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, there were some people like, you know, if we donate this stuff, we need a warehouse or something. And it's like, well, I can't fit anything in the shop. There's limited space down there to where they're holding things. Like the community center, they have stuff everywhere, and pallets and pallets of water, 100 feet wide, 40 feet deep, covered in tarps. To keep it out of the weather, clothing, blankets, things like that too. They're running out of room. So a great man by the name of O.J. Garland owns his own business in Johnson City, Tennessee. A blessing, out of his own personal pocket, bought dozens and dozens of generators for people in the community. Fuel. Greg Biffle did the same thing with generators and fuels. Flew his personal helicopter, and that's coming out of BCI, out of his own pocket as well. And that's the measure of the resolve of many of the people down there. But OJ, he always made sure that we were taken care of. We'd come in late at night. The power crews too, the linemen would come in, and he would have pizza or something like that they would haul across the mountain from a local pizzeria, not like Domino's or Pizza Hut. It was always local. And he said, hey man, grab a couple of slices, you know, head home. and we did. He always took care of everybody, but he is a pillar of many of those communities down there, and he truly cares. He truly cares. And I couldn't thank him enough for everything he's done for people down there. So if we needed something, hey, like for instance, some of the donations we're going to use to get shelving for some of the supply centers and the churches and some of these other small towns that were affected because they have so much stuff, but you can't leave it on the ground. You can't leave it on the floor, get it up off the ground and get it organized. So like just the little metal shelves, and we'll drop a couple boxes off. And the guys there can set up the shelves and start putting the sleeping bags and fuel. So when people come in, they need something. It's like either a Dollar General or a huge ass Costco. You just walk in, get what you need with a cart or a bag, take it to your vehicle, and you're done. Yeah, U-Haul, Penske, whatever it takes. You're right. You're absolutely right. Because everything we've been hauling's been in pickup trucks right now and some smaller utility trucks. But yeah, Greg Biffle. I mean, there's other celebrities and stuff that have done great things down there. And Greg's hitting the hardest hit areas first. I mean, that's home. Yeah, the Redneck Air Force, they called it. There's 3 aviation disaster agencies down there. And there's a guy that was prior service that bought a Chinook and went out and loaded it up with feed and hay, and was taking it and unloading it. And we actually had a joke with him with some of the round bells, hover over a farm and push out the round bell. And we were calling it a Moab, the mother of all bells, as they were bombing these farms with hay bales. So that was a little local joke that we had with them. But yeah, it's amazing, all of the support and all of the assets on the civilian side, just volunteers that they had and the skill sets that they had coming in, saying, where do you need me? What can I do? This is what I'm an expert in. This is what I can do, or multifaceted roles, and they were utilized everywhere. We had PAs, we had nurses, we had medics. There's medics at every supply station in Mitchell and Yancey County. There's either an EMT there or a PA there. Some of them are staying over. They're traveling in the areas. They're doing wellness checks on the elderly and those with major medical conditions, COPD, heart conditions. And there's tons and tons of medicines in the area too. There's clinics at community centers that you can go in and everything from a cough to hey, I need a suture or an ankle wrapped, and there's somebody there to help you. And these are all volunteers, and many of them are local. There was a nurse practitioner that was cooking our food for us every day in the kitchen. Her name's Kathy. Amazing woman. She owns a local clinic too, and she's multidisciplined in medicine. She's been in from the ER all the way to pain management. So I just, man, super impressed. This is America. This is the unity that I saw in America when I was younger, especially in my teenage years in the '90s, later mid to late teenage years. So it's amazing. And I can't talk enough about it. It absolutely shocked me. No distension anywhere. We had people donating insulin, and we had glucometers and strips and stuff like that. Make sure they're compatible with the different systems. And I went in one day and I said, hey, I need a bunch of glucometers. We have to run it out to 2 supply points because they had diabetics in their area. Many of them had run out of strips. So besides the area being inundated with insulin and all the different types, and yes, they do make some you don't have to refrigerate, the Instapens as well. So taking these glucometers out to these areas so people could at least come in and get it checked, if they needed to. it's the little things. It's the things that most people don't think about. That made a huge difference to many of these communities. Oh, I absolutely will. I can't name everybody, but Jennifer and Travis, Misty and David, Jason and Kendra, Little Dean, Big Dean, Donnie and Candace. Yeah, I'm going to allow you guys out tonight. Jeff, Air Force Jeff, and 82nd Airborne Jeff. We had two Jeffs there. So you yell Jeff, you have to be specific. But especially Caleb, my buddy in Kingsport. We stayed at his house each night. Heath, uh, Phil, Misty. I think I already mentioned Misty and David. Sarah was a big help. OJ Garland, man, he rocks. The law enforcement, Christy, Peck, so many others. John. I know I'm going to forget people, but yeah, that's just a few of the names of everybody working together. Gutters, good to see you. Those were just a few of the people involved in just a local operation that helped to expand and communicate with the entire county, and everybody worked together so well. And they were from before the sun came up till well after the sun came down. And we had people out 10 o'clock at night that were still sorting supplies, and taking it into where, inside to where it needed to go on the shelves. Carrie was huge. Gary, Tamara. Oh shit, man! There's so many people that were part of this local operation, but it was a big operation. And then Becky and Green Mountain up at North Bend Free Will Baptist Church. If they need anything, they let us know. Keith up there as well. Becky's husband, Bill. I won't say his name for security reasons. But yeah, he was a big help as well. Nick. So many people in the area. So many people in these communities. And everybody's on the same page. And we're getting these people help. And they're going to pull through it because they're not alone. North Carolina is not alone. Tennessee, you're not alone. Virginia, you're not alone. South Carolina, you're not alone. Is there any questions you guys have? I do have to get to bed here in a minute, but is there any major pressing questions anybody has about what's going on down there, or the operations, or the next steps? Yeah, they have. We focused on TikTok at the beginning because there was a lot of information that was being disseminated there, especially between individuals and organizations. It helped us with many of our rescues, some of the possible recovery locations from local people in those areas that, their neighbors were washed away, whole families were affected. And we can disseminate it fast. We can get small bits of information out, post it, get for a response, and recruiting as well. Anybody that wanted to come in, hey, I want to be a volunteer. If you drop off supplies, we were asking people, hey, we need help. Can you stay and help? And 75% of the people, 75 to 80% of the people that did drop off supplies, we asked that, they stayed. They said, hey, I can only maybe stay till tonight, or maybe I could stay 2 or 3 days or the weekend, and then I have to go home. That's fine. That's understandable. We appreciate every ounce of energy and every hour of help that you give us. And they were huge helps. And then they would go, and more would come in. We do the same. Well, one woman came in from Nashville. brought in supplies late at night right after we got back to the SDC of recovery operations, and said, hey, can you stay and help? Yeah. And she, I think, just left last weekend, because we left Thursday afternoon, late Thursday afternoon. And I think she was leaving Friday or Saturday to go back to Nashville. So, and she said she would be back down. And many others did. And we have all the contact numbers.
Just the list mainly for now is what we need. Yeah, I can get that to you. I can definitely get that to you.
But yeah, Big Dog Mauve had very little sleep in the past 3 weeks between the Halesa shift at work for this 5-6 days straight, and then leaving that last day, coming home, packing up gear. Me and Angie packed up gear, and I haven't been on a disaster in 5 years. I kind of said I'm going to retire from all that. So there's stuff that I had to dig out, find, piece together. Some of it I take when we go hiking and camping, but there's other major items, and we had to pack all of that, pack the vehicle, and then left the next morning, and then came back late Thursday night, this past Thursday night. Went right back to work Friday. I've fallen asleep at work every day, and I feel bad because that's not me. So that's starting to catch up with me, and I know tomorrow's gonna be rough, but it's the last day of the set. I'll sleep in Wednesday morning. I have a news interview Wednesday afternoon, and then I'm going to jump back on here Wednesday night. If anybody else has a stream on, we'll do it. And it's a good break for us too. And get that information out and stuff on the StreamYard stream. We can post that. But I will get rest. I promise you. It's not going to be tonight or tomorrow, but I will get rest, and everything will be okay. We'll grab some drinks. We'll sit here and just relax and talk about everything. But yeah, but if there's any, I don't know what like TF and the Vicks, I don't know what their schedule's like, or Harley Dads, but maybe, I don't know, maybe we can get together on one just big stream and figure out something. Or Wolf, I don't know what Wolf's doing. Maybe I'll just talk to him and do a stream early, and we'll just raid each other. Thank you, Gigi. Nils loves you too. Nils loves you too. Oh yeah, I could see that. I could, Casper, I could see that. I'll just go out there with, all of my stuff. There is one thing that's kind of unique though, that I wore down there. I don't know if you all saw my wolf necklace with the buffalo teeth on some of the posts, but that has there's actually a Cherokee friend of mine, Keenan, if you're watching, I love you, my brother. He's Cherokee, and he made that for me, and gifted it to me for Yule last year. So I wore that down there because of the area that we were in, to the indigenous folks, to the Cherokee. So because of the spirits there, and wearing something that was already created by a Cherokee for that area. And it was funny because when we left last Thursday, we stopped at the Black Diamond gas station right there off the Unicoi exit, exit 32, if you go on I-26 through that area. And I had been dying for a Coke Zero. I love Coke Zero, and I hadn't had one all day. So before me and Heath left, I said, man, I got to get 2 Coke Zeros for the trip. Kind of wind down and stuff, and then we can listen to music or whatever. So I go over there and to get a pack of cigarettes, and go up to the register, and there was a woman there, dark-haired woman, younger, and she said, I know you. Now, when you're out somewhere and someone says that, you either owe them money, or you beat up their brother, or you dated their sister, or something like that. So I was kind of nervous. Never saw this woman before in my life. She said, I'll watch you on TikTok. Thank you for all the information. Thank you for everything you're doing. Thank me and Heath and stuff, and our team, for what we were doing. And she recognized me because of the necklace that Keenan made for me. So never met a follower a day in my life. So that was a lot of gratitude I had for that woman. for that. So it's people like that to help you say, okay, we're doing the right thing. We're getting this information out to others and to her to let them know you're not alone. We do care, and you're not alone in this struggle. So that was very heartwarming and very humbling. But so now when I go out, I mean, I don't have it at home here, but when I do a lot of streams, I wear that so people know that that's the trademark Nils. It's to honor the Cherokee and the people of that area, and it just feels right. It just feels right now. Like I couldn't go down there without it. TikTok famous. Oh shit! Hold on. One of the cats fell in the water. Come on. Shit. Hold on, guys. I gotta use this real quick. Give me just a second. I gotta get a light because I can't see him. Wow, live stream, cat drowning. Hang tight, folks. Now we just gotta figure out where the cat's at. Hold on. Oh. She's good. Her ass is wet, but she self-extricated, so whew. Started a big splash, but she made it out. No, Oilers, you don't want me for president. I'm too smart. I'd last about a week in office. But good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Speaking of that, and the Vix, if you talk to him before I do, tell him I love him, thinking about him. I was watching the footage of the flooding in BC over the last 2 days. Had no clue until yesterday morning, so I was like, oh, wow. So they had some massive rain and flooding there. But yeah, the kitty's okay. She's okay. I guess she was trying to drink from the pool because they got onto the tarp. One of them fell on the tarp and jumped out. So part of the tarp is off. And so we'll have to completely redo that. But yeah. Now she's over there hissing and fussing and bitching. So that's what you get. So, but she's out of the pool. She didn't drown. She's actually a good swimmer too. But keep your faith high. Oh yeah. Did I read that right? Yeah. Oh yeah. Trust me. Yeah. The gods are definitely with us down there. We were definitely favored, and helping everyone else out too. Oh, sweet. Awesome. I'm going to be on for just a little bit longer. Oop. There we go. This is a Swedish survival light. I love it.
all the deer running around. They're actually running around the lower field playing right now. So it's getting a little bit cooler, and they'll come down to the lower field. There's a sycamore that had fallen a couple of years ago, and there's some good brush there. We don't cut that part of the that lower field. We keep the grass tall so they can use it for. It's a good windbreak, and it's good bedding for them when they sleep. So they stay very warm on chilly nights as well. But yeah, thank you, Oilers. I'm going to be here for let's go till 10:30, 10:30 Eastern time. So that's 21 minutes, and then I have to get some sleep. I have to get some sleep so I can finish my last shift tomorrow and then take a break. Probably do a TikTok live tomorrow. I'll try to share that too. Multiple platforms. It sucks when you're trying to do stuff like this and stream. I'm not a creator. I'll tell you first and foremost, I'm not a creator. Going back to Big Dog Mall and Sun Honey and such. So the night before I left, and I really didn't use TikTok, I had 113 followers. Now it might be now 21,000 in a week. Now a little over a week, but about a week and a half, 2 weeks. So yeah, just from sending that information out, and we were using that for the purpose that there were things on TikTok that other streaming services were, I won't say limiting, censoring. Just flat out, they were censoring. So TikTok was not. And we were able to talk to other organizations too on there. So we wanted to document everything that was going on, where we were at, what we were doing, for accountability reasons, and to let others know the progress of what's going on down there. So they don't say, oh, this person, they haven't had a hot meal, or nobody's taking care of them for 15, 16, 17, 18 days. To show, yeah, we were in that area. Yes, we met these people. Yes, we took care of them. They're okay. So you don't have like 50 different people or organizations trying to run around to the same spot, and those people are okay. They can focus on where they're needed most. And it just went berserk from there, with people following. And so it was a double-edged sword, and it worked good, and it allows us to increase our avenue for fundraising as well, for donations to help these people out first and foremost. And if there was stuff that people needed down there and it wasn't immediately accessible, we would run back into Johnson City or Bristol or Kingsport, and we would buy it and out of our own funds and take it straight down there out of our personal pocket. We would buy it and take it to them if they needed it, because they needed it more than we do. And my bills are paid, so my belly's full. We had fuel, so we're happy. We're doing what we need to do to help them. The news just stopped reporting it. The media, MSM, just stopped reporting it. And that's just the media for you. They're going to get to where they can get the most viewers, the most coverage and stuff. You have to view mainstream media as any streaming service for any creator. They want the likes. They want the attention because they make more money off of it. And the mainstream media is the same way. But not all of the creators that are on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok during this event, they're not in it for the money. So you might see some with 125,000 likes. You might see some with 20,000 likes, some with 50,000 likes, but they're not in it for the likes. And a lot of the monetization that they do isn't for personal. They're out there, and we saw it firsthand down there. They're buying supplies and bringing into the region, and then going back out outside of the region where there is no Walmart, or it was destroyed, so that they can go out and they know the supplies are there. That's why we would get stuff in Johnson City, and Kingsport and Bristol and places like that. There was another town too south of Kingsport. I can't remember. It was a little small town, but yeah, they had lots of stuff there too. Go to Academy Sports and get lanterns. Lanterns is another thing on the list too. I'll post this list probably tomorrow or tomorrow night. I'm going to try and get it out tomorrow morning because I don't know if I'll be able to post all of it tonight.
But yeah, lanterns, especially electric lanterns and batteries, is another big thing. Um, the paraffin jars with the paraffin mason jars. You can pour the paraffin oil in there, and use it. It only works to a certain temperature, but you have to be careful with lamp oil because of the gases. It is toxic. And then like candles and stuff, it's a fire hazard. We're trying to give these people light, but without using the anything that could be a fire hazard in their home. Because these people are cold and tired and hungry too. Working all day and through this mud and dust and mold and everything else. So we don't want to increase any more hazards. We don't want to put any more stress on them. So we're trying to keep it simple with like just the lighted lanterns. And there's plenty of batteries floating into the area too. So if someone needs batteries for the lantern, bring it out. We'll change it for you. You can take it back home and use it. Did that for 2 ladies actually last week. Yeah, battery candles or solar lights, even the solar pathway lights, just take the stem off. The stake that's on the bottom, just take it off, and you can set it on the table, put it outside during the day. At night, bring it inside, and there you go. That thing will run all night. The little folding solar panels, those are great. I actually have one. It's probably about 11 inches by 6 inches folded up, so it folds out to like 18-20 inches. And because there's a little sidebar, and we can charge laptops, phones, and stuff like that. Just throw it straight on top of the truck when we stop somewhere, if we're at the SDC loading stuff up for a while, and out in other operations, and we can just throw it on top of the roof of the truck, and we can charge all the devices as needed. Plus we have the little battery pack backups too. Those were helpful. Might actually buy a few of those and pass it out to people. Yeah, they work very well. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. That's a great idea, using the buckets with the pathway lights and making a huge lantern. Those work very well. Water filtration systems with the buckets. I don't know how many Life Water straws we passed out. Purification tablets. Oh man, there's just so much stuff. But most of it we take for bottled water. And then if they want to wash clothes, the laundry detergent was a big thing too. For those that were able to salvage what laundry they had, what clothes they had. Others is fresh clothes, that many people from around the country donated. There's people from Canada donating stuff. There's people from UK donating money, Australia, New Zealand. God, there's so much stuff. And so many people that are willing to help, especially in Europe, Australia, New Zealand area, Canada. I think there was one guy from Argentina that donated cash. So it's amazing. It's amazing. All of the support for this small region of America. And 5 states that was impacted. A lady had a farm in Virginia or North Carolina with a huge building. She said, "Hey, you can stay here." There's another couple in North Carolina, I believe, that had they bought an old school and renovated it into a house, and they can sleep like 200 or 300 people. So just getting supplies for cots and things like that for them to come up and stay. I mean, it's just things like that. If they have room, they'll take them in. But most of the people in Appalachia, people are very proud. They don't like handouts. They don't like handouts. They work for everything they have. And you can tell them they're poor, but growing up in Appalachia down there, they don't know they're poor until someone from the outside tells them that, because they have everything they need. They don't need a Ferrari to feel rich. They have the land, they have everything around them, they have community and family. Fire extinguishers, yes, we've handed out many small fire extinguishers. We've kept them on hand with us as well. The fire departments were handling the heaters and fuel and things like that for fire safety. the heaters that we would take out for every so many heaters, we'd have CO2 detectors. I think I mentioned that earlier twice. Now that we would hand out to them is like, you get a heater, you get a CO2 detector in your home. You know, one per home, so you guys don't get poisoned and not sleep or not wake up rather. So yeah, well, I mean, every avenue we can think of. Spiritual services, because you know they're old fire and brimstone Baptists, most of them there. So there's been a lot of spiritual help for them through their faith as well. And I think they've seen this. They've seen the heart of America now. They truly have seen the heart of America, and everybody else, even the volunteers, have seen it. And these are the greatest people in America that have been down there. These are true patriots, truly just huge-hearted people that care. You know, I can't remember who exactly said it. It might have been Oscar Wilde. You have to reject altruism. You have to succeed and become better. You have to reject altruism. And I kind of got upset the other day when I was flipping through TikTok, and people were out at certain festivals or concerts or raves or clubs or whatever doing things, and it's like, you have free time to help people, but you're not. But at the same time, they're enjoying their life. And if it happened in any other region, Western North Carolina, Asheville, especially this time of year for fall festivals, they would be doing the same thing. But when there's such a desperate need and cry for help from people that are trying to make it, you know, a little bit extra help doesn't hurt from time to time. Especially for proud people such as, you know, those from Appalachia, which now we call the Free State of Appalachia down there. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, much love to all. I have got to get to bed. I know there's just the 9 of us here, but I have got to get to bed and get some rest. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. I promise you. I will talk to you guys tomorrow, either through YouTube or through TikTok or both. And yeah, Oilers, thanks for showing the hurt out. You know, just tell people, don't be disappointed Nils had to sleep. And I will see you guys tomorrow, and you all sleep well. Keep them in your thoughts and prayers. And those in BC that were affected by the floods too, in British Columbia and Canada. And Gutters, we are going to do a stream Wednesday night. I don't know what everybody else's schedule is. I don't know what streams are up. I haven't looked, but yeah, we're going to do a panel stream here on Wednesday night. So make sure you grab your drinks, coffee, beer, whatever you want to drink, and we'll chit chat and talk to everything. But until I see you guys again, sleep well. Skål.